right, people, thank you very much for staying tuned and welcome back to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. As of now, I think it's about time that we kind of speak about a high achiever who's making sure that the very existence of humans is not going to be endangered because of this very pandemic which exists amongst us.
Absolutely. And Shazar, to think about the fact that at this young age, lately this generation is actually thinking so cognizantly, if that's the right word, making the right choices and being informed as well. It sort of makes my heart happy that they have all the facilities in terms of internet, the reach, their access to information and everything. And then there are some who's making the right use of it. So this particular girl, who is now going to be in conversation with us, of course, is, mashallah, yes, a high achiever, like you did already say. But she's actually paying attention to and campaigning for a lot of issues that need to be spoken about, and especially to be advocated by someone as young as she is. I think it's going to create an impact.
And she, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be an ambassador for the Dutch health department as well. You know, her billboards are all over the place where Shiza comes from as well, which is why I think I will let Shiza kind of introduce her as well and make sure that you use that language which you learned over there as well.
Okay, so I feel like it's a lot of pressure and I'm not going to do good, but the meisje that sit here, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, the meisje that sit here is hele, well, she's genius. En vandaag ze gaat praten over wat zij heeft gedaan voor Pakistanis, as well as for people that woon, for mensen that woont in Netherlands as well. She happens to be Fajr Khan, a high achiever that we've already mentioned. Hello Fajr, welcome. Goedemorgen.
Goedemorgen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Did you judge my Dutch?
It was amazing, honestly, especially if you haven't been there in a while. Your accent was pretty good.
Goedemorgen. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. So, Fajr, first things first, obviously you happen to be an ambassador for the Dutch Health Department, which I believe is a great achievement for you.
Thank you so much.
Your billboards are all over in the Netherlands as well, and you're promoting that everybody needs to get vaccinated. How did you end up doing that?
That's a long story. Well, I moved to Pakistan very recently because I had lived in Amsterdam in the Netherlands from when I was 2 years old to when I was 16.
Wonderful.
So I moved to Pakistan last year, and that was obviously in the midst of the pandemic, coronavirus was raging, and everyone was in chaos. Then I went back to Amsterdam for the summer vacation, and the exact day when I went there, it turned out that vaccinations opened for 12 to 18 years old. So I was like, yes, this is my shot, you know. I was really upset that I wasn't able to get vaccinated, but I was really glad I was able to go and get my Pfizer vaccine. So I was researching a bit about vaccines in the Netherlands and in Amsterdam, and then I read an article from the Volkskrant, that's like the national newspaper, about how immigrant communities are not getting vaccinated. As a whole, it's like 80% of the Dutch population is getting vaccinated, but when you look at immigrant communities from Pakistan, Morocco, Turkey, so especially Turkey, there's very low numbers of vaccination rates.
Was it by choice?
It was by choice. Everyone has the vaccines available for them in the Netherlands because of the free healthcare system and, you know, insurance and everything.
But they were just scared.
Yes, it's 100%. It was all conspiracy theories. You know, there's a lot of governmental mistrust, which is completely understandable when you're a minority as well, you know, and then always like colonialism and all of that kind of stuff. It can be really difficult to trust the government too.
So then there was you, right?
Yes.
And then what did you do to kind of promote?
So when I read this, it was really shocking to me because we're like also immigrants, right? So I was like, well, something needs to be done about this. And in the Netherlands, you can just email the mayor. You can just send a letter to the mayor.
And they respond.
They do respond. That is the big difference. So I was like, you know what? Let me just give it a shot. And I emailed the mayor, and she ended up responded, which is amazing, the mayor of Amsterdam. And they connected me with the Dutch Public Health Department, the GGD. And then it was a really I was really nervous to go, but I had a meeting at their headquarters with the coronavirus prevention team.
Wow.
And that experience was really kind of like, you know, I learned a lot from that experience because I didn't learn only about like the issues that were going on in terms of like conspiracy theories, but how do you talk to somebody who, you know, has this mindset of vaccines are dangerous, there's microchips, they're trying to track me. How do you talk to these people? You don't start saying, oh, this is wrong, you're dumb, you know, this doesn't make any sense. You take an approach of logic. That's what they were trying to tell me, that you kind of explain to them why it doesn't make sense, why they would be doing that. And that's
exactly. And in addition to that, I think that, you know, for half of the people I've met, you know, who are not now my friends because they didn't get themselves vaccinated.
I mean,
imagine.
Understandable.
You know, this is something I said. I was like, you know, I do not want to be you know, in relation with you 100%. Because of the fact that, you know, I have to go back home to my family and I cannot miss them. And I want everybody to do so. But imagine that every time they gave me this logic that they will be tracking us, I was like, who are you? Why would they track you? Why do you think that you're this important to the government anyway?
Can I just mention something over here? Of course, I'm not definitely talking about or endorsing tracking or any such idea. But just the fact that there can be a national database. Yep. You guys try to understand if you do this, then I'm not saying they're going to inject something in it, but you being registered and, just sort of creating, everyone is on paper. So if the smallest of the crime happens around you, or God forbid to your family members, and then you go out looking for the criminal, there are right now chances you'll never find them. But this way, I mean, at least we will have a database and we can match quickly the DNA for wherever we want, because we will have the list of all the people
One simple thing, Shiza, and that is that I'm sorry that I'll be putting you under the spot, but this is something I want you to share with our audiences. So I will give you an argument that why I do not want to get vaccinated, and then you have to give me a counter argument that
let's see how I do.
Okay, that's your narrative, and you have to change my narrative. All right. So imagine we live in a country where 1 rupee Disprin is not for free, but imagine a 12,000 rupee vaccine is for free. Why should I get vaccinated?
What's not for free?
Disprin.
A Disprin or a Panadol, a small capsule which will help me.
But the vaccine is
for free. But the vaccine is for free, and that might cost quite a lot. So imagine that a 1 rupee tablet is not for free, but a 12,000 rupee or a 15 or 20,000 rupee vaccine is for free. Why should I get it when?
Well, the government's biggest priority is curbing this pandemic, right? And they have to put their money and their resources into what's the most important thing. Panadol medicines are extremely important, but that's kind of a long-term medicine use. Something like the pandemic that sprung about so quickly, and it's affecting people all around the world. It's this huge thing, So they have to put all of their health resources into curbing that.
Exactly.
And that's why, the only way all countries are going to be safe is if everybody gets vaccinated.
Exactly. And I think there's one more point which I would love to add over here, and that is that, just because everybody's getting COVID positive, God forbid, there's more pressure on the hospitals as well.
Definitely.
So for all these other diseases which exist, the doctors are not able to kind of treat them as well. So we really need to treat everybody else. So please make sure, while you can lessen the burden, please make sure that you do that.
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
And ladies and gentlemen, I feel like we're really short on time, but this wonder kid over here has actually a lot of feathers in her hat too. So very quickly, talking about, again, one of them. Girl Up is one of the things that you're heading over here in Pakistan. Let us know about it.
And you even met Yasmin Rashid Saiba as well.
Yes, I did. Okay, I'll start with the Girl Up part. So with my friend Anya Khan, we co-founded Girl Up Pakistan, which is the first chapter of the United Nations Girl Up campaign.
Nice.
And it focuses on empowering girls to become leaders and also fighting for gender equality. And it's the first chapter, which we were really surprised about, because we thought, we'll just do a regional chapter of like Girl Up Punjab or something. And we went to the registered list of chapters, and there was not a single one in all of Pakistan. And considering Pakistan's low ranking in terms of like the safety of women and girls, we were so shocked. So that's why we decided to, found a national chapter.
Where are we in the index, by the way?
I believe we're third on the Reuters index. Third or second in terms of violence. It's very bad. So that's why we're trying to, through these small initiatives, coming together as a community, we're trying to alleviate these issues.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And
that's nice. And
yes. So after I came from Amsterdam back to Pakistan, I met with her because obviously there's a lot of vaccine issues in Pakistan as well. There's a lot of misinformation here. So I went to meet with her, and I also went with my mother, and we talked about these rapid antigen testing kits because, education has been really impacted in this pandemic. Every time one person tests positive, the entire class has to quarantine. I'm in my last year of school. It's been pretty horrible. But if we do this rapid antigen testing technique, it's where you can just, do a self-test if you have symptoms, and then you can quarantine at home. If everyone does that, everyone in like a school or a class does that twice a week, that's what's done in the Netherlands as well, it can prevent, schools from constantly closing all the time and, help us continue our education as well.
Exactly, that's wonderful.
Definitely.
But, I mean, obviously the economics is very different from Netherlands and Pakistan, 100%. And having a test kit at home. That twice a week, I think, gets difficult.
Definitely.
Not just that. There's one more thing which I kind of wanted to talk about as well, and that is that, since 2019, ever since the pandemic broke out, I think all of these laboratories kind of wanted to make a lot of money.
Definitely.
Imagine that a test which should have actually costed 2,500 or 3,000 rupees, it costs 9,000, 10,000 rupees to even to a person who only earns 15,000, 16,000 a month. I mean, imagine how can they get themselves tested. So which is why that a majority is actually left out, because they really do not believe in the system.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is, obviously, if the vaccines are there, I mean, we have Ms. Fajr over here with us who's advocating that everybody needs to get themselves tested. There's one more important aspect, and that is that I happen to know 2 or 3 of my people, who I'm not friends with anymore, I've said that, had made fake certificates of them being vaccinated, which I believe was the most horrible thing I've ever come across, that how can people be in such a denial where they can be of risk to their family, and not just to their family, friends, and everybody who surrounds them.
Yeah.
What kind of scrutiny do you think that the government needs to undertake, where they kind of get to know that who's coming up with a fake certificate of vaccination, and then people who really do have the advantage because they're vaccinated?
You know, in a lot of ways it is inevitable because of how tech savvy people have become. Even in the Netherlands, we have these QR codes, and you show these at restaurants and stuff to get entry. Even there, people, you know, have been using their computers to create fake QR codes. So and people are getting arrested there. That is,
go on.
That's one good thing that I think they're doing. They're, you know, but they're promoting that they're arresting these people. That is completely wrong. That's a really big part. They should be doing that here as well. And like in terms of the certificates, I know they use like paper certificates here. QR codes can work, but unfortunately, what can we really do? There's always going to be these tech savvy people. So I think intervention is really important. Like communicating why it's important to get vaccinated, why it's going to hurt you and your family and the people around you. That's where we should be focusing on.
Exactly. Absolutely. And just in addition to that, I think that we really need to have a standard operating procedure in these terms as well, because the text message which Nadra sends you from that very own number, I think only that message should actually be verified as that you are vaccinated as well. Because in days to come, ladies and gentlemen, you won't be able to go onto your motorways, you won't be able to get your fuel, you won't be able to get into cinemas, restaurants, or wherever you want to go. So I think your life's pretty much going to be over if you do not get vaccinated. So please make sure that you do get vaccinated so that everybody around you is safe. We got ourselves vaccinated. It's been more than 6 months. We are healthier, safer, stronger, and better.
Absolutely. Fajr, towards the end, I want you to quickly give out sort of a message to especially the younger generation so that they can convince their families to go get vaccinated and how, well, safe it is. This is your camera. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you know what I've noticed? A lot of young people also don't want to get vaccinated because they're like, oh, I'll be safe. I won't be sick. You know, I won't be harmed by, like, if I get COVID. But the truth is, when you get COVID, there can be so many long-term side effects. There can be concentration issues. I know friends of mine who still don't know how to, like, they can't feel their taste buds anymore.
Yes, or smell.
They can't smell either. It's so dangerous. And also, you're impacting other people's grandparents, other people's parents. So it's really important to get vaccinated, not for yourself only, but for your community too.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Fajr, for being with us. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, she just does not only happen to have been advocating to get vaccinated, but she's a high achiever as well. She's been a topper in Netherlands, and she's been a topper in Pakistan as well. Have won several awards to herself. But very quickly, towards the end, I hope that each and every Pakistani out there knows why we are wearing a pink ribbon, because it's Pinktober, it's Breast Awareness Month. Please make sure, ladies and gentlemen, it's treatable 100% if you get it you know, figured out in time as well. So please make sure that you go to your doctor, just visit them after every 6 months and get your entire body tested. God forbid if there's a problem, you know, it will be resolved and you will be around your family for a longer period of time with a healthy life.
And we will definitely, in the coming week, have an entire show dedicated to talk about just this as well.
On the 6th.
On the 6th, okay, let's do that, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any queries, feedback, make sure to write to us on our social media pages. One more thing, this is for all the businesses out there. This is for all the outdoor spaces that need to be open. Stop looking for certificates. Make sure that the client that is in front of you messages 1166 in front of you, so that the impromptu message is actually a verification or tantamount of them getting vaccinated, if they have gotten vaccinated as well. Till the next time, take care. You can catch the repeat of this show at midnight, inshallah, and all the messages you can write to us on our social media pages with the name of Well This Morning. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And before we actually head out, very quickly, because with the latest updates, we will have Ms. Taiba and Mr. Farooq on the news desk and on the hot seats as well. Please make sure to stay tuned. Now, 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Take care.
Thank you very much.